Hello class 7 students. Today we are going to do a new topic, a new chapter from your history book. That is chapter number 4, and the topic is the Turkish invasion and the establishment of Delhi Sultanate. So let's go back to what we have read in chapter 2 and 3. In chapter 2, that was spread of Christianity, we read in that about the Crusades. What are Crusades? Crusades were the holy wars. Why it had taken place? Because the Muslim Turks had what? Had captured the land, the holy land of Christians. That was Jerusalem. And they also invaded the capital Constantinople. So from there we see how powerful these Turks were. And then even in the third chapter, we see that by the third chapter, the last paragraph, when you see, we see that in that chapter we had read that Umayyad and Abbasid dynasties had taken place, had emerged, very powerful. But what happened? By the end of the 9th century also, that also declined. And then who took over? The Turks. And during that period, what we see, the two very important independent states comes up under the Turks. And these two were Ghazni and Ghor. So this is how we connect the third chapter with this chapter, saying that the Abbasid caliphs had declined. Though they were very brilliant, they were very very vibrant in their culture, we see there's a decline in Abbasid caliphs, and we see the emergence of the independent states ruled by the Turks. And as I said, these two independent states were Ghazni and Ghor. So let's read about the Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni. What was his intention and how powerful he was. So from your chapter, the 4th chapter, let's read. The Turks. The cultural vitality and brilliance of the Abbasid Caliphate in the 8th and 9th century CE was followed by a decline in its political power by the end of the 9th century CE. The once mighty Abbasid Empire disintegrated into a number of independent states ruled by the Turks, who had earlier served in the armies of the caliphs. You know who are caliphs? Caliphs are the head of the Muslim community. So the two important states established by the Turks were Ghazni and Ghor. So now we are going to read about what is Mahmud of Ghazni. Who was Mahmud of Ghazni and what was his intention? So today we are going to read about Mahmud of Ghazni. Even we see that Turks were very smart in invading places. And then because of the Turkish people, we see the Muslim empire coming in India. We see that Mahmud of Ghazni was a very powerful and ambitious ruler, and he wanted to invade India. So why did he wanted to invade India? Because since he was very ambitious, he wanted to expand his kingdom, and then for that he needed money. So what he did? He invaded India 17 times in 25 years. That was from 1001 to 1025 CE. So in order to expand his kingdom, he needed money. And for that, for money, for richness, he wanted to invade India. So how many times he tried? Invaded 17 times. So that what? He can get the riches of the temples of North India, and then which attracted him. And why temples will have so much of money? Because a lot of donations was given to the temples, so that he can get the money out of that and then expand his own kingdom. And then what he did? He attacked India. It was easy for him to attack. You know the reason why? Because the rulers in India, they were busy having fight among them. Mahmud of Ghazni took advantage of this. Why? Because since there was no unity, and then he could easily enter India. And that's what he did. He took benefit of the situation and then attacked India and plundered its riches. And then he made raids. What are those important raids? Let's see. So, the important raids that took place between 1001 to 1025 CE. That was war against Jaipal and war against Anandapal. But let's read a bit from your book. Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni was a powerful and ambitious ruler. He invaded India 17 times in the course of 25 years. That is, I told you, 1001 to 1025 CE. He wanted to build a large and well-equipped army to expand his kingdom and also to protect it from his enemies in Central Asia. To fulfill his aims, he needed money. The fabulous riches of the temples of North India attracted him. At that time, North India was divided and there was no unity. The ambitious Rajputs, deeply absorbed in mutual rivals, failed to understand the gravity of the situation. So they have actually forgotten that they could be attacked from outside country. So internal fights were going on. Now, Mahmud of Ghazni took advantage of this, and what he did? He attacked India and plundered its riches. If you see the map of India, right, this is now the political map of India. But that time, even Sindh Afghanistan was part of India. So India was a very huge area. It was spread in a huge area. So that is why. And then Ghazni is here, Gaur is here. So it was very easy for them to enter this way. Because this side what we see Himalayas. There is a barrier for anyone to enter from this side. But here there were no such oceans or no mountains. So they could easily enter from, that is from northwestern side. Okay. So the important raids, that was war against Jaipal and war against Anandapal. So they were the Hindu ruler. Now Jaipal was the ruler of Punjab, and then his territory extended, Jaipal's territory extended from Punjab to present day Afghanistan. So all those areas were under India. So what happened? He attacked. Who attacked? Sultan Mahmud attacked this the place, and Mahmud Ghazni defeated Jaipal. In the war against Jaipal, Mahmud of Ghazni defeated Jaipal. So we see that Sultan Mahmud had defeated Jaipal. And then Jaipal was forced to pay tribute. What do you mean by forced? Pay tribute means what? He was forced to obey Sultan Mahmud. And even if he didn't like, he had to, because now he was defeated. And this defeat had humiliated Jaipal so much that what he did? Jaipal burnt himself to death. Then we see next is war against Anandapal. Now who was Anandapal? Anandapal was the successor of Jaipal. He was the son of Jaipal. Now we see the war against Anandapal. As I told you, Anandapal was the son and the successor of Jaipal. Now what Anandapal did? He made alliance with whom? Central and the Western India, the rulers of Central and Western India. And then that urged, the fear of foreign invasion inspired the people to come together. Even the women, what they did, they sold their ornaments and the golds were melted. So the fear of foreign invasion. So what we see here, even the women, they gave their gold ornaments and were melted, and then they gave contributions so that they can fight together. But what we see that the alliance and Anandapal, they were defeated. And then this paved the way, the inroads to India. Now once that place was attacked, India was attacked, what? His main intention was to attack temples. Why temples, as I told you? Because it was not only a religious place, but also lot of riches was there. Right? Because people donated money, golds, and then so his intention was to attack temples. So what we see here, that hundreds of temples were attacked. By whom? By Mahmud of Ghazni, Sultan Mahmud. And then he also attacked Somnath temple in Kathiawar, that is in Gujarat. And then what happened? People, they are so emotionally attached, you know. Then the peoples there, they really fought, and because they wanted to defend the temple. And what we see in the book, that it's written 50,000 soldiers died, and they had 3 days of fierce fighting, and we see that 50,000 soldiers, they died. And then this attack at Somnath temple by Mahmud of Ghazni was a profitable one. And then what he did? Mahmud returned to his capital with immense treasures, including valuable works of art. So Mahmud of Ghazni, what his intention was to expand the territory in Central Asia. He didn't want it to establish an Indian empire. So what we see, that Sultan Mahmud, what he did, he drained. So whatever he collected, the gems, the pearls, all those things, he decorated his city, the court of Ghazni. And then with what? With pearls and rubies that he had collected after loot. What he did, whatever he had collected after plundering the temples, after attacking the temples, he collected and then he transformed his capital city. What is that? That is Ghazni. What he did, his court was beautifully decorated. There were libraries and a museum was there. And then he is also considered as idol breaker. Why do you think that he was considered as idol breaker? Because he had attacked temples. Where temples are the places where idols are worshipped. But what he did, he attacked temples, and that is why he is known as the idol breaker. And then beside this, he also liked the people, the learned people. Here in the book we see, and then we see a Persian poet, Firdausi, and remember we had learned Muslim scholar Al-Biruni, which we have learned in chapter 3, that these two people, they were very much what? Honored by Mahmud. They were very much patronized by Mahmud. Why? Because he was a patron of art and learning. He liked he liked the people in his court to be learned and scholars. So that is why, and we see Firdausi's epic work, that is Shahnama. Okay, his epic work was what? Shahnama. And then what we see here also, that after invading India, after Mahmud of Ghazni invaded India, we see that that showed the weakness of India. Okay, the unity in India was not strong, so easily anyone can come and invade India. That is what. But what we see, that after the death of Mahmud of Ghazni, we see that there's a empire of Ghazni declined. Okay, after the death of Mahmud Ghazni. For about 150 years after that, after the Mahmud's death, for about 150 years after that, North India was free from foreign attack. To the next one, that is Muhammad Ghori. Now, who was, I told you that these two independent states under the rule of Turks had emerged, very powerful. That was Ghazni, we had finished. Now this is Muhammad Ghori. Muhammad Ghori. Who was Muhammad Ghori? He was the ruler of the place called Gaur, which is just near to Ghazni, very much near to Ghazni. This place, Gaur. Now, before that, what happened? Now, when Muhammad Ghori attacked India, invaded India, by the end of the 12th century, what we see, there were 5 major Rajputs in northern India. And who were these Rajputs? These Rajputs were, so now we see Muhammad Ghori. He was the ruler of Gaur. And by the end of the 12th century CE, we see that like Sultan Mahmud, he also wanted to invade India. And during that time, there were 5 Rajput kingdoms. And the 5 Rajput kingdoms in North India were Rathors of Kannauj, Chauhans of Delhi and Ajmer, Solankis of Gujarat, Parmas of Malwa, that's in MP, Chandelas of Bundelkhand. So, now when Muhammad Ghori had to attack India, he had to face battles with them. So, let's see what happens next. So, here we see Muhammad Ghori towards the end of the 12th century CE. A new kingdom based in Gaur arose in northwestern Afghanistan, that is near Ghazni. If you see the map in your book, you see that Gaur is just above Ghazni. Okay. Now, the ruler of Gaur decided to conquer India and enrich his kingdom with India's wealth. India was very much rich during that time. Okay. He first brought the frontier areas of Multan, Sindh and Punjab under his control. As I told you, the geographical feature of India that time was different. Now we will do the rest of the part, that is the how he come across all the battles, that we will see in the next video. So children, we read about Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni and Muhammad Ghori. He also wanted to invade India, and what are the battles that he come across, that we will see in the next video. Please go through whatever I have done today. Read your chapter, go through my video. Till then, thank you children.